Well, it looks like the Chicago Bears are indeed going to be moving to Northwest Indiana. Not the Gary Bears. They might be the Hammond Bears. Brad, you're the big Bears fan here. I'll let you kind of give the skinny. But, today there was a unanimously passed amendment, 24 votes to nothing, that would clear a path for the Bears to build a stadium in Hammond, Indiana. The state of Illinois and the lawmakers there, they have kind of jerked around Bears ownership and the city of Chicago. And now basically the Bears are like, all right, screw it. You think we're bluffing? We're going to go to Indiana. How is this almost seems like a done deal here. What is going on? The Chicago Bears are going to be moving across state lines.
Yeah, look, the Bears said they were going to put up $2 billion of their own dollars. So don't act like this is completely on, the state of Indiana giving them just enormous tax breaks, which they already are going to do. But the exorbitant fees that are also associated with the Bears in Illinois far exceed the expenditures of other professional teams in the state, like the Bulls, like the Chicago Cubs, like the Blackhawks. So as a result, it makes more economic sense for them to go to Indiana. And politically speaking, very simple. For those people that are unaware of what is going on in the state of Illinois, I have lived in this state on and off almost my entire damn life. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle that you're on, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, a member of the Green Party, it doesn't stinking matter. Issues like this in Springfield, they're sometimes debated. They're debated on for too long, and nobody can reach the C word, which is the basis of our democracy. It's called compromise. And you reach a stalemate. They were going to schedule a meeting, the politicians in Springfield, the state's capital, to discuss the Bears, and they canceled it this morning. So what did Indiana do? They swooped in. They acted expeditiously, and they said, hey, you know what? We got Republicans. We got Democrats in our state. We have independents in our state as well that represent our townships, our counties. We want the Bears in the Hoosier states. And they moved at a lightning pace, and they got everything out there and on the table, exactly what the Bears were looking for. They already been scouting out plots of land for months on end, whether in Arlington Heights in Illinois or this one in Hammond near the Wolf Lake area. And they found it. And Indiana's like, all right, we're going to give everything you want. You got to put the $2 billion. We're going to build a stadium. We're going to get this thing done. And bada bing, bada boom, it gets done. That's how the political system should work. You got to find that C word, compromise. And as a result, they got another C word, and that's Chicago, as in the Bears. So congratulations, Indiana. This is looking like it's going to be a done deal. And a lot of people are upset here in the ILL, but our esteemed colleague and producer of the show, Brandon Combs, it's like a stone's throw from his place. I mean, he can't walk there, but it's a short drive. A lot of the Southsiders are like, all right, yeah, it's not the land of Lincoln. We got to go over to the Hoosier state, but it's a hell of a lot closer to home. That certainly works. There'll hardly be any traffic there. The population not nearly as dense, and it's still, honestly, in the Chicagoland area. So, Pat, I'm going to throw it back to you on this. You are a big New York Giants fan. However, you live in the great state of New Jersey. And you probably know actual New Yorkers, and you talk to New Yorkers. Do they remotely have an issue with the New York Giants? Or maybe you got some Jets fans, and I'm sorry for them. They're probably heavy drinkers, and understandably so. But do you have any of those people in your circle, in those fan bases who are from New York, maybe born and raised in New York, that have a strong issue with their professional football teams playing across the river in Jersey? That's what I'm asking, because it's essentially the same thing. You're a part of the megalopolis of New York City. This is still Chicagoland in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's the New York City metropolitan area, as I'm sure you know, and you're in market number 3, right, in Chicago. So right. I'm not trying to talk down at all. You know how massive it is, where you got North Jersey. You got Central Jersey, where I'm from. Central New Jersey does exist. You got South Jersey, which is, you start getting into Eagles fan territory because of the proximity to Philadelphia. You've also got the 5 boroughs of New York City, and you've got Long Island. Long Islanders, they don't like the fact that the Jets and the Giants are in New Jersey. They miss when the Jets were in New York City. So it is a pain in the ass for them. I know a lot of friends that I work with at WFAN that are from Long Island that almost never go to games because it is an absolute pain in the ass. That being said, you're moving through the most populated, densely populated city basically in the world to have to get there, and into East Rutherford, which is not easy, and there's always traffic. So, it's much different. This, like you said, it's across state lines, but as you mentioned with our producer Brandon Combs, it's 15 minutes from Southside Chicago. This isn't like it's like 45,
nothing.
50 miles. This isn't that far. By the way, here's the Bears statement, part of their statement that they released today. Quote, "We are committed to finishing the remaining site-specific necessary due diligence to support our vision to build a world-class stadium near the Wolf Lake area in Hammond, Indiana." So they are, they are serious about this, man. They've been serious about this. They've been kind of screwed around here by, like you said, Illinois lawmakers and all the property taxes and how much they're trying to fist that on the Chicago Bears ownership and then on the residents of Chicago and the residents of Illinois. And so, like you said, Indiana said, hey, we want the Bears. We'll gladly take them. Come on over. Let's get a deal done. Bang. And it looks like they have worked this out here. So what we should ask, and I'll ask you, and we'll ask Combs, we'll ask Monty, we'll ask all the Bears fans that are listening. We'll ask, hell, Niners fans, the San Francisco 49ers, they're in Santa Clara, even though they're in San Francisco, even though they're San Francisco 49ers. You mentioned the Jets and the Giants, and I know New Jerseyans love it that the Jets and Giants are in state. Like I said, Long Islanders hate it because it's so much of a pain in the ass. The New England Patriots, they're supposed to be from Boston, yet they play in Foxborough. So here's the question that we want to know for Bears fans. If they do this move to Indiana, will you follow? Do you have any opposition? And then if the NFL ever brought a new team to the city of Chicago, would you leave? Would you leave your Bears fandom to support a new franchise if they basically get something done in Arlington Heights in a couple of years from now? But most importantly here, Brad, I want to hear from you. You're a Bears fan. You seem to be in favor of this. You don't mind this one bit. And so I can't imagine your Bears fandom has decreased in any kind of sort of size or shape with this news coming out today, has it?
Zero. It doesn't move the meter at all. It's an imaginary line. Okay. I understand there's like local patriotism and be like, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to Indiana. And I got issues in Indiana as well. Like I made fun with Indiana people all the time, being a diehard University of Illinois fan. But this is not a big deal. It's still part of the Chicagoland area. It's a suburb, no difference than a suburb of Arlington Heights. You're just going across, again, an imaginary line. Zero issue with the stadium being built in Northwest Indiana. My allegiance to the Bears, it's not going to budge at all. And I think any Bears fan, they may be throwing out right now, and I can't wait to hear what Brando and Monty have got to say about this, but they're out there and they're like thumping their chest. I'm never going to a Bears game again. I can't believe they stabbed our state in the back. The land of damn Abraham Lincoln. Screw those guys. No, push comes to shove. They're going to be going to tailgate in the parking lot. They're probably going to put their butts in a seat to watch a game. This is all going to blow over in short order, 5 to 10 years down the road. Nobody will be thinking second about it. They're going to be fully committed to this organization. And to answer your last question, if we get like the Chicago Cardinals again, because remember the Bears, the Bears and Cardinals did coexist at one point. There were two NFL franchises early in the 20th century. I think a snowball's chance, and that actually occurs. But if it did, the Bears are still going to dominate the town. It won't stinking matter.
Let's get our producer Brandon Combs' thoughts here as well in the open, because he's a big diehard Chicago Bears fan. And like you mentioned, he is in Southside Chicago. So I don't know, he probably loves this. Combs, how do you feel about this being a massive, massive day? What would you say the likelihood is? 0, not going to happen. 100, it's a guarantee that the Bears are moving to Hammond, Indiana. And are you a fan of it?
Well, yes and no, right? Like there's some part of the nostalgia of me that wants them to stay in the city of Chicago and they're the Chicago Bears and all of that. But at the same time, like I'm realistic about it. And I understand like all the things, and I've watched all of the things that have gone on with this team and trying to build a stadium in Arlington Heights. Now, for me, look, it's 35 minutes for me to get to the station here, which is about a mile away from Soldier Field. and it's only 20 minutes for me to get to Hammond, Indiana. So I will personally love it because it'll be an easier trip, and I won't have to fight Chicago downtown traffic to get there. So I will like that aspect of it. I also will like the aspect of them having a stadium in which they can have more events, in which they can have other things going on. I'm not just excited for the Bears and going to watch them in a dome and watching them play indoors. I'm excited to watch, the Final Fours, the WrestleManias, all of the other things that you can do with an indoor stadium. So that's why I'm excited for this whole move. And plus, look, it's about time that somebody took a stand here in this state and told these lawmakers in this state to go shove it and to go pound sand.
Yep. Totally.
I don't think it's done by any stretch of the imagination. I do still think Illinois is going to make a last-ditch effort to keep them here, and they might just get desperate enough to keep them here because this is going to cost the state billions of dollars a year in revenue if they let this thing go to Indiana. But I'm all for it. Arlington's an hour and a half drive for me. So to go there, to go to Northwest Indiana, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's not that big of a deal as a lot of Bears fans are trying to make it out to be.
You're listening to BetMGM tonight with Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. So, excuse me, choking on my own air. So you said, like, if Illinois gets desperate, so what would it look like? What would have to happen for the state of Illinois to keep the Chicago Bears and get this stadium funding approved here to build this stadium in Arlington Heights? Like, what change has to happen that they've been dragging their feet on now for the last 2-3 years?
Well, stop trying to rake the Bears over the coals and taxes. I mean, that's basically
Bingo.
what all of this has been over. This has been over the tax money and the greed of the Illinois government and trying to make more money out of this. And look, if they're smart about it, it's like we talked about the other night with the baseball thing, right? Like, if you're smart about it, don't be greedy. You're actually going to make more money in the long run. You might not make more money tomorrow, but in the long run, you're going to make more money over this. It makes more sense for the state of Illinois to keep them here and to do whatever they need to do to keep them here. I just don't know if they're smart enough to do that.
What's the issue with staying at Soldier Field? Sorry, Brad, go ahead. But that was my next question.
Well, yeah, let me give you my point first, and we can answer that. I was giving an example, Pat, of what goes on politically speaking in this state. So sports betting, it's legal here, right? And it was roaring. It was absolutely exploding once PASPA fell and Illinois legalized it. And the money was coming in, and the state was making money hand over fist, and they were earmarking it for a lot of infrastructure renewal. And then some politician got the harebrained idea over the last year. You know what? We can make even more money. Let's raise the tax rate, and on top of that, let's place a per bet charge for every individual in the state. So if you make a singular bet, no matter how big the bet is, you're going to be charged an additional 25 cents or 50 cents based on certain thresholds reached. That's how greedy Illinois is. And that bill was so dumb and so stupid, and it did pass, and it's implemented. So every bet that I'm making in the state right now, I'm paying either 25 cents or 50 cents additionally on. What are the repercussions? Anybody with any kind of sensibility knew that people are like, well, casual bettors, I'm not going to give the state an additional 25, 50 cents per bet. This is ridiculous. I'm done betting. So what they have done is they're realizing now not enough people are betting. They are losing money on this proposition, which was very profitable just a year ago. And now there's another bill in Springfield right now to roll back the per bet tax that they're placing. This is the circus that we live in this state because the politicians, A, are too greedy, and B, they don't sit down, and C, they don't compromise and really think through the process. So again, this is the crux of the issue in the great state of Illinois is they can't figure crap out. And as a result, Bears are like, sayonara, see you later. We'll go to Indiana because they're sensible.
And I think one thing that Bears fans aren't thinking about that they should think about is that this is a good move for the franchise, because when the franchise starts making more money, they start spending more money. They put back into the team, they put back into the franchise. And if you want this team to have sustained success, like we've been craving for years and years and years, basically since Papa Hallis died, you want to go ahead and do this move because you want them to make as much money as possible.
Yeah, what I am struggling to get past is, you mentioned that the Bears ownership, they said they would invest $2 billion into the construction of the stadium. They would put $2 billion in themselves. However, was the Chicago Bears, were they not seeking about $850 million in public funding to cover essential local infrastructure, roads, sewers, improvements to rail lines so that you can get to this new stadium in Arlington Heights? That's got to come out of taxpayers' wallets, does it not? $850 million worth. So I know that they're saying, hey, we're going to put $2 billion up, but also, Uncle Sam's going to come for you guys as well for $850 million, however that gets spread out. Is that not something that the state of Illinois, Brad, you, Combs, that's something you guys would balk at?
I wouldn't necessarily balk at it, because I think there's different ways that the state of Illinois is going to take that back. I mean, we've got all the way up to Arlington Heights as toll roads. I mean, you're going to take a ton of toll roads. So you're going to spend more on tolls. You're going to spend more on this. You're going to spend the amount of, and I think what the state would end up finding is, with what the Bears want to build in Arlington, they don't just want to build a stadium. They want to build an entertainment district. And when you build an entertainment district, the amount of money that entertainment district brings in will end up easing the cost. Yes, it's going to cost Illinois taxpayers a little bit more in the beginning, but again, in the long run, property value, value of everything that's going on around you, money that you can make back, jobs that they're creating, all of that stuff, it creates more money than it's going to take away.
Yeah, it's a healthy environment. That's what it does initially, bolster overall. But the one last point I want to make on this, Pat, is very simple. We live, Brandon and I do, in one of the most taxed states in the union. So if they want to raise a little bit in taxes, I don't think people might be a little ticked off at first, but the Bears are in the state. They're going to be all for it. You're going to improve the infrastructure. They're going to be all for it. You're going to bring in additional businesses and opportunities. They're going to be all for it. They just did not sell this all that well. And of course, again, the politicians just are so divided right now in Springfield, they couldn't come to an agreement. And again, that's why they crossed the border. Stones throw away from, Brando's place. Great for the Southsiders in Indiana. More than likely, again, not a done deal yet, not set in concrete, but more than likely going to get the Chicago Bears. Just don't rename them to like the Hammond, Lakers or something.
I mean, you could just as easily keep them as the Chicago Bears. Maybe the state of Indiana would want something to be said about that, but also at the same time, I just don't understand, why is leaving Soldier Field? Why does that have to happen? But I know that there are logical reasons why. I still think that it's an incredible part of the community, incredible part of the city. It's a legendary stadium. That doesn't mean that we have to, knock it down or move somewhere else just so we could have a dome. Just so we could have your precious dome, Brandon, and have your WWE events and all your concerts. Anyway,